and you can find it on the Chamber's website. And if you could please hold all of your questions until the end, but you can enter them into the chat as we go along. So with that, it is my pleasure to turn it over to Kathy.
Thank you, Isabel. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, everyone. We are absolutely thrilled to see such a wonderful turnout for this important conversation. It does not go unnoticed that you are taking the time to invest in yourself, your company, and your colleagues by joining us today. We regularly hear from organizations about the challenges they face in hiring and retaining talent. In many of those conversations, we find that mentorship and succession planning are either informal, reactive, or not fully developed. Yet both of these are critical to strong teams, preparing future leaders, and ensuring long-term stability and growth. Mentorship creates intentional pathways for knowledge transfer, leadership development, and employee engagement, while succession planning ensures that when transitions happen, whether planned or unexpected, your organization is planned for confident and resilient change. We are excited to hear about your experiences in both mentorship and succession planning, and we know your insights will support others around the screen as they strengthen their own strategies. So please join in the conversation today, share your thoughts, and support one another. Thank you for being here. We applaud your commitment. We appreciate your dedication, and we truly value your investment you're making in your organization's future. And now it is my true honor to introduce a friend, the president and CEO of the Chamber, Tony Iannelli, who will serve as our moderator today. Tony?
All right, thank you, Kathy. Honor, that makes me feel extra special. Thank you for that. But first of all, Kathy, it's great to have you. Really, your first Engage Roundtable. All of us, if you haven't spent time with Kathy, you're amazing, and we're really blessed to have you. And thank you for that. And the entire group, Sarah, thank you. The entire group from Workforce Board has been a great partnership. We're thankful to be part of it. And it's great, by the way, yet again, for the first time this year, to see everybody across this screen. And boy, you all look terrific, by the way. But anyway, so it is my job to make an introduction to get us started, and then we'll have some dialogue. So I do want to please to introduce Ida Segura. Ida Segura, I'm sorry, Ida. You know what? That really bothers me. I'm big on last name. But Ida Segura, thank you. You're principal and advisor of Segura HR Solutions. She also serves as the diversity chair for SHRM, Lehigh Valley, where she created and leads the chapter's regional mentorship program supporting leadership development and succession readiness. With over a decade of experience advising organizations across industries on workforce planning, organizational design, and leadership development, she helps organizations turn people's strategies into sustainable business outcomes. Today, she will share how mentorship can serve as a principal and practical workforce strategy for our community. And by the way, I can't wait to hear about this because internships are an amazing way, which again, Ida will tell us about. So, Ida, thank you so much for being here, and it's all yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much for such an engaging introduction, Tony.
Uh,
Well, an official good afternoon to everyone, and it's truly my pleasure and an honor to have been invited to speak about mentorship in our mentorship program at SHRM Lehigh Valley. Isabel has kindly offered to share the slides on my behalf, so whenever you're ready, Isabel. Right, perfect. So I am here today representing SHRM Lehigh Valley, which is your local affiliate of the Society for Human Resource Management. But practically speaking, we operate less like an association and more like a workforce partner. What we do, we support the people inside organizations responsible for the hiring, the developing, and the retaining talent. These are you, my fellow HR leaders, managers, and emerging leaders. So, when organizations face retention issues, leadership gaps, or succession challenges, those conversations usually tend to show up in our space first. Next slide, please. And that is exactly what led us to build the program that I'm sharing with you all today. We launched on June 30th, 2025. We launched a structured mentorship program, which consists of a one-year cohort connecting HR professionals across career stages. Participants meet monthly, and we facilitate the quarterly check-ins to keep the engagement and the momentum consistent. The matching for the pairing matching was done very intentional. So what we did, we aligned the goals, the experience levels, and their development interests of each individual so that the conversations to be meaningful and practical, not just networking. The structure matters. However, what mattered more was the why. Next slide, please. So what we saw, a common pattern across companies, where HR professionals were supporting everyone else's development, but often they didn't have the guidance they needed themselves. And in my opinion, it's quite evident when HR lacks the development needed because it really causes a ripple effect affecting the whole organization. And so this program was designed with that in mind, which means a stability strategy. While strengthening HR capability, in turn, the goal is to benefit organizations so that they become better prepared and more resilient. Next slide, please. And we were also very intentional about how we built it. And so at the core, we applied an inclusive approach where different professional backgrounds and ways of thinking, including, but not limited to neurodiverse perspectives, were taken into account. So understanding that workforce development doesn't happen just inside one company, it really happens across a community ecosystem. We expanded the mentor participation beyond the chapter membership. And so this is really important because this shifted the program from a chapter initiative to a regional knowledge sharing network. Next slide, please. And again, the goal transcends from being focused from an individual growth. It comes back more for an organizational stability as a whole. And we've seen that when professionals gain confidence through their network expansion and leadership skills development, organizations are better prepared with increased pipeline of successors, with a stronger workforce, which it all comes back full circle, feeding into the overall improved retention. And from this lens, mentorship really transcends development. What I see is mentorship, and I view mentorship more from a preventative workforce planning strategy. Next slide, please. And for anyone interested here on this call, interested in participating, we welcome mentors across all industries. That means you. So if your organization is thinking about succession planning, leadership readiness, or retention, mentorship is really a practical place to start. So today I'm asking you to consider to be the mentor that you may have needed. And so I invite you to connect with me either by visiting the SHRM Lehigh Valley website. Next slide, please. Which is shown on this slide, or by emailing me directly. And you have my email here on the slide. So we can continue the conversation further after today. Okay, and with that, I'll return the baton back to you, Tony. Thank you.
All right, Ida, thank you so much. And that's really good stuff and important stuff. I'm thinking to get some input. In my recollection, Portia, you were part of the program, or are you actually taught, I think, as one of the mentors. And maybe you could share the experience that you, by the way, from Gemini Bakery, and it's after lunch, and I could use something from, well, you'd sell the product, but anyway, the equipment. But Portia, why don't you let us know your experience and share that with us, if you would.
Or good afternoon, everyone. Most of you do know me, but I'm Portia Watkins. I'm currently the Senior HR Business Partner for Gemini Bakery Equipment. I'm currently sitting here in Bangor. And I'm also a proud SHRM Lehigh Valley member. And this program was introduced to me specifically from SHRM, but I am always very near and dear to mentoring. So just to start about what we do here at Gemini Bakery Equipment Company, we have a peer-to-peer mentoring program that we introduce all of our new hires with, just to give them a 90-day additional resource to set them up for success in their onboarding process. Mentoring has always been near and dear to me, and it's one of the things that I want to continue to always promote within my organization, and then also just to promote, as Ide mentioned, within our community. So when SHRM reached out to their members, of course, I accepted that call to action. It's just something that's near and dear to me, and it's just an expansion of who I am and what I want to do for our regional Lehigh Valley community. So the one thing I'd like to say, this program was great because it got me outside of the initial population that I deal with. So I am currently mentoring an individual, and I'm going to say she is a HR Rising Star. And I joined the program late October, early November. So even though the initial cohort, as she mentioned, started in June, just with my busy schedule, I'm going to be honest, the email got lost. It got lost in my inbox. So when I saw it and it hit the passion and what I wanted to do, I reached out and said, is it too late? And absolutely, they said it's never too late to want to be involved, to work with our future leaders. So despite having less than 5 years of experience, my mentee is very curious. Her initiative stood out. She's an HR department of one, and that just hurt my heart to know, as Ide mentioned, when it comes to human resource professionals, a lot of times we are there, empathetic, compassion, day in and day out for other people, and a lot of times we have no one else for ourselves. So this program and being able to reach out to this individual was phenomenal for me. And what really started kind of like an organic connection last fall, I will say that it has grown mutually energizing because with reverse mentoring, I'm here to share my wealth and experience and knowledge that I've had for over 40 plus years. And yes, I'm proud to say I've been working for 40 plus years. But what she has taught me in this relationship is an opportunity to get a little more grounded with the change in demographics and the different generations in the workforce and some of the struggles that she's facing that is helping me deal with those 4 or 5 generations in the current workforce that I am in. I will tell you, when I think about what's most rewarding with this program, and I will say it's just not checking off a list because our relationship in just that short period of time has evolved. I let her drive. Because this is me supporting her in her growth and development. She created that cadence. She created the schedule. She knows that I'm available via email, phone, text, if there's an emergency. And so I will tell you, or one of the things I would like to say is that we've moved beyond the initial, I'm struggling with this, I'm having, can you help me with your experience? To now, just on our last call Friday, and we usually schedule once a month, we're talking about strategically placing her in different roles, creating dashboards for her leadership team. So, the conversations that we are having right now has completely shifted in such a short period of time. So I will say that matching process that was done, that Ide mentioned, that was intentional. It truly at the individuals. Yes, I want to be a mentor. Here are the people that are looking for someone. And I will say that fit between the two of us has been phenomenal and has really impacted her growth. I'm also excited to say that my mentee recently passed her SHRM CP certification. Not that I had anything to do with that other than being a strong rah-rah supporter during, before, just telling her, you got this, just kind of go in with the attitude. Up until the morning of, I'm sending text messages and I waited almost that evening. I said, I have to wait for her. So I'm just really excited from that perspective. But from my own organization, it also has given me an opportunity working with her outside of my group is to actually think about changing my internal program. We've had this peer-to-peer mentoring program, and it is a voluntary program because we still feel that you really need to be passionate to want to volunteer. And it's not going to be a natural, sustainable program if the individuals don't want to be a part of it. But what I've learned, at least in this particular experience, is that I think I'm going to change the way I match people, not just for location. Some of you may know, I oversee HR for 3 regional areas, Philadelphia, Bangor, and also Central Pennsylvania. And sometimes I'm trying to match people by location just to have the accessibility. But with technology, we can see that we are crossing those kind of boundaries. And so I'm going to be looking to change my program just based on the fact that my mentee actually sits in Kutztown. She lives in Coopersburg. I'm in Allentown living, and I'm up here working all over the state, and it doesn't matter. If this is a program that you feel can help grow and develop your employees just by not thinking about where they are right now, but where you need, as Ide mentioned, this succession planning and mentoring goes hand in hand. It is going to give me an opportunity just with this personal experience outside of my organization to start matching my mentors internally in this organization slightly different, thinking more long-term strategy for people that will be able to provide not just a resource to help them on board, but someone that they can go to and continue to be employed in their new role.
Great. Thank you so much, Portia, so much for that. And hey, before we get to discussion, I just want to check, did I lose Tina Hamilton? Is Tina still with us? I want to see if I either catch Tina or is Lorraine the same? Oh, Tina,
Hi,
this is your world. It has been for some time, and you know your stuff. Your thoughts on this, and whether you've seen its work, but it produces results.
mentorship in general. I haven't worked with the SHRM one. It sounds wonderful. Glad to hear it's happening. Very much so. I do personal mentoring, and I also I'm involved in this entrepreneur organization, and I have a program now that I run on mentoring. It's difficult. The hardest part is what you said, Portia, about matching people, but then getting them to stay with it and continue on. And I've done local mentoring. I was doing a mentoring program in Jamaica with underserved entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. They're like interested in this and that, and then people get caught up. So, but the ones that do work, man, oh man, like it's so good. I'm mentoring a young guy now, and I'm watching his business grow as he's doing the work. I'm just giving him, advice and direction and things like that. It's meaningful. And whether it be within organizations, because we have mentorship programs like within my company, when someone new comes, we try to assign a mentor to them that they're always there to go to and help them navigate working at my company or outside. I just think there can't be enough of it. So I definitely applaud this effort.
Definitely commitment, right? I guess, but it's worth the commitment in terms of the return.
It is. And I think the matches that happen is if there isn't enough direction on what needs to be done, and what the commitment is, and then like spelling out next steps. Because I think sometimes people they get to a point, they're not sure what's next, like what they should be doing, et cetera. So having the right direction really helps.
Just like to add, thank you so much, Tina, and Portia, for sharing both of your mentorship experience. To the latest thing that you said, Tina, is absolutely right. So in developing and running this mentorship cohort, we have both mentees and mentors ask, what is next? What do you expect us to do? So I even put together a cheat sheet, right? Tips for mentors and one for mentees. And that has actually helped a lot. So thank you for including that.
Good point. Thank you for that. Any other thoughts? Any questions that we want to share or ask about?
Tony,
Lorraine,
this
I'm
is
sorry.
Denise. I'll just add, and I know Lorraine has some thoughts too, but I love this topic because you think about what you can accomplish in your work, and it's kind of finite, right? The work that you do, you like to do good work, you think you make a difference. But the greatest difference you can make is truly inspiring someone else in their career and creating that, next generation of leadership. So I love that we're having this conversation because I do think it's important to make that a part of, the goals that we have for ourselves to really share what we've learned, to Iday's point, learn from other people who are, in a growth part of their careers. And I just feel like this is really lasting and important work. So I'm so excited that it's the topic for today.
Thanks, Denise.
I would add in, I was gonna say, I would add in too, Tony, that I think Ida did a great job explaining the SHRM mentor program, which is interesting because you're really taking somebody else under your wing that is not within your own organization. And I think that's a huge distinction when we talk about mentorship and then succession planning. Succession planning is within your own organization. And so I like that two-prong approach where it's, you can go and support somebody else just out of the kindness of your heart, like the Portias of the world and the Tinas of the world, or succession planning, which is very much, strategic, passing the torch, as our title is called today. So I'd love to hear more feedback on that as well from other organizations on the call.
Anybody have any thoughts or they want to share?
Yeah, Tony, I'm Lorraine Facenda. I'm plant manager at Amrise Cement. So, Sarah, when I look at mentorship and succession planning, to me, they are very much connected to one another. I'm as I said, I'm in the cement industry, and there's not a whole lot of females in the cement industry, and I was lucky enough to be asked to be a mentor for women in construction, and did a webinar, a panel discussion for women who are interested in the construction industry. And what came out of that was a mentorship program. And I think it's super important that, I am not an HR professional, but I do HR work every day of my life. So I think, we have to think about expanding that from just being an HR role to being a leadership role. And when we do that, then we can have our leaders start thinking about succession planning, because I know I say to my team here every day, I'm trying to work myself out of a job, because I need to have good leaders to take over when I'm gone and leave the company in good hands. But the only way to do that is to spend the time mentoring younger professionals to take that torch and to move on.
Lorraine, when you talked about the fact that you end up being in HR often, even though you're not in HR, can you explain how that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, so people are our number one asset, right? So yes, I am. That human aspect is always there, and I don't think that you can be a leader without having that aspect of your job. And if you just look at positions like HR, safety, if you look at them as a person owning them, then you're not going to be successful. Everybody needs to own that responsibility of people.
Gotcha. Any other thoughts or questions?
Tony, we do have a question in the chat. Janae from the Kindness Project put a very insightful question in the chat, and she's asking, is there a difference in mentorship approaches for nonprofit versus profit organizations? So perhaps we can have some folks weigh in on their thoughts regarding nonprofits in a contrast in this program.
Yeah, great question. Any thoughts? Ida, any thoughts on that question?
I do. Many thoughts. So I'm right now serving as the HR director at a nonprofit, and I come from a corporate background. So I do see a lot of similarities when it comes to mentorship. So there's not a blanket approach, just like Tina shared with us, right? So she's mentoring some folks in entrepreneurship in Jamaica. And so across industries, people are people, and they have, very similar needs. And so, Janae, there's no specific difference when it comes to mentoring someone. All you have to do is be accessible, provide good guidance to your mentee. And if you have the industry knowledge, then that's an added bonus, right? And that's great. But when it comes to overall development, there's really no specific differences between both. It's my take. I'm open to other feedback, please.
Yeah. Any feedback, thoughts?
I don't know, but I feel like there's an opportunity. Hi, Janae.
Hi, Tina.
Good
I
to
was
see
just thinking the same thing.
I think there's an opportunity. I don't know what it would be, and I wish I had time to think about it. But or I don't mean think about it. I mean
Yeah.
work on something like this. But like, it would be amazing. Nonprofits always have needs, right? Never ends. Janae could tell you, right? Like, all of them do, and especially lately, with a lot of cuts and things. So it would be amazing if business leaders, in it, no matter who they are and what position, but different leaders could form some sort of almost like its own nonprofit to help nonprofits, right? Like that Janae, is running and has done such an amazing job with the Kindness Project. And but sometimes I'm guessing you run into, like all of us, like, oh, what do I do with finance? What do I do here? What are the experiences? And like to have a place where you could go that somebody experienced could mentor you, or just give you
100%. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm here because we're growing so fast and we're adding staff, which we've never had. It's only been me, and I'm not an HR professional, but we don't have a budget for that. So it's like, I don't want it to fail because of my lack of knowledge in that area. But again, it's like, how do you make it work? So I love that idea, Tina.
Yeah.
I saw Lori Reinert on this, and I hope she's still with us because she can really touch on the. I think are you with us? There's Lori. Talk about the nonprofit council and how the grow. There was a time I was telling a story. I can remember Chambers in particular was about for-profit, for-profit, for-profit. We learned that not-for-profit organizations, nonprofit, are really growing, obviously, and a big part of this economy. So I'll let you. And Lori handles our nonprofit council. And talk about that, Lori, and the growth that you've had.
Sure. So about, I'd say a dozen years ago, we started a nonprofit business partners council within the chamber, and it's really a networking platform for nonprofit executives, volunteers, and funders to get together and know each other to promote better collaboration between sectors. And for people doing similar work in different areas of the Valley to share resources, solutions, and challenges. And we have recently started an initiative with Mark, who is on the board for Camelot for Children, similar to I Have, I Need for actual resources, but it would be for professional support in the areas that were mentioned here. So I don't know what the structure or how the back end will work and how the matches will transpire, but if somebody needs an HR person, they can go on to this list of folks who have offered those services, kind of or finance or whatever the professional service might be, but it's going to be something that's really needed once it's set up. But the idea is there, the support for the idea is there. It hasn't come to fruition yet, but I think it's a really good thing that's come out of the council and will be valuable to all of our nonprofit organizations. We're also seeing a lot more collaboration between organizations that didn't always happen. For example, in the arts, people were always competing for audiences, for performers, for sponsors, and now we're seeing a lot more collaboration where the arts groups are working together to promote themselves, which helps everybody at the same time. And we're seeing that for health and human services and other parts of the nonprofit world. So it's been a really wonderful experience for me. It's helped me personally support the Chamber Foundation. So I learn a lot about the other organizations and their missions. So it's great to see so many people doing such good work in our community.
Yeah, a lot of sharing, fundraising, all the topics that, for-profits and non-for-profits need today. Any other thoughts?
Tony, we have another question from Ann Egan, and Sarah or Kathy, I don't know if you want to weigh in on this one. Obviously, we heard from Ide and with this SHRM option, but Ann is saying, is this program just for HR professionals? What about small organizations that don't have an HR department? Is there an opportunity for them to get involved?
Great question.
From
Anybody
a
want to jump in? Yeah.
I can share from a SHRM Lehigh Valley mentorship perspective. So while we opened it up for mentor participation, the program really does, at the core, is as an added benefit to our members. So from the mentees perspective, you would have to be a member, a SHRM Lehigh Valley member. But no, you can be a SHRM Lehigh Valley member without being an HR professional. If you are, a small business owner, you can join us as well. So it'll be open to you as a mentee that way.
Good stuff. Good advice.
I I have a question. This may have been brought up. I was in a transition from the car to my office, so I may have missed some things that were said before. But my question is, are assessments being used in this mentoring program? It can be very, very beneficial for not only the mentee, but the mentor. And I like what Portia said about reverse mentoring, is that I think probably both parties benefit a great deal from mentoring or being mentored. Assessments can be really helpful for people to understand each other, their personality, their behavioral styles. Is that being used in these programs at all?
I can share from the SHRM Lehigh Valley specific program. Well, we thought about using a personality assessment, for example, to your point, Vince. We did not. What we used was we launched, everyone that wanted to participate, they had to fill out an interest form. In this interest form, they needed to express their background, a professional background, their hobbies, their interests, and their goals as well. So that was the methodology used behind the pairings for this particular mentorship. But I would agree with you. An assessment would be an additional form of for successful pairings as well.
That's a great point, Vince. And Portia, it makes me think what you had said, just a reminder that it's mutually beneficial. I mean, you're getting as much back as you're giving. I know that's your experience.
Definitely in my experience, and even in my organization with the initial peer-to-peer 90-day program that we had, we do a 30-day check-in with our new hires just to confirm that we felt, because we're doing the match. And if it's not working out, we want them to benefit. We tell them, please be honest. And if this person you don't feel is going to help you get acclimated, or you see a interest in them being able to work with you for a longer period of time, we will rematch that person. So internally, we use predictive index assessments, and it is a behavioral assessment that every employee takes. And when we as an HR matching, we do take some of those behavioral assessments so that we understand what's important, what drives individuals, so that when we are making that match, it is, we feel it's going to be a good connection. So thank you, Vince, for identifying. The SHRM program, as Ide mentioned, this was something that's just a passion project for me. And just the matching, like I said, obviously they read both of what we completed, because my experience has been fantastic so far.
Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts?
I actually just wanted to remind people that the Chamber also has a mentoring program, our Women to Women's mentoring program that's available. It's not HR related, but we do have a program for emerging leaders, and they're paired with some professionals. I know some of you on the call have been some of our mentors. I can find out more information, but you're welcome to reach out to me, and I'll connect you with Danielle Joseph, who manages that program for us.
Kathy, Sarah, any parting thoughts before we just finalize or wrap this up?
I certainly would just say I'm very humbled, honestly, at the knowledge that was shared here today. I think it's an incredible group of folks who are doing wonderful things for the young people coming into the workforce, the young future leaders of the workforce. So thank you for sharing this. For me, it's just been fabulous to hear.
Yeah, and I would also add to that, Kathy, it's I think really exciting that there are so many structured mentorship programs in the Valley. There were some that I wasn't even aware of that came up in the chat today, which is very helpful to know, because I think in what you said in your introduction is generally we'll see organizations responding to open positions it's reactive, right? It's you don't have a plan. You might not have spent quite enough time developing that next leader. And so if there's a way throughout the Lehigh Valley that we can structure and have toolkits that are available to all different kinds of organizations to ensure that it's, front of mind and not reactive, I think is my takeaway from this. It's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and the production of your company. So how do you prioritize this and put it at the top of your list? If you're not a Portia who has it as a passion project, right? There are companies that, they just simply don't have the quote unquote staff time to invest. And so I think it's really important that we're talking about it and compiling all of these resources for several organizations.
And Lori Ryder, for those who are in the nonprofit group, an example, your meetings, you'll have what, I don't know, 100 people. I mean, the point is they'll get to share with other professionals and it's helpful.
It's very helpful. I think just getting to know other people who do similar work that you do is super helpful, but there's also chances to meet corporate representatives who might want to partner with you to advance your mission, as well as smaller group meetings for specific categories of nonprofits. Like I mentioned, there's one for the arts, there's one for health and human services folks. We do also have a public policy committee, so they get together and talk about I would say more topics like ethical storytelling, the census, opioid addiction, food insecurity, and then come up with solutions that can be applied across the Lehigh Valley. Even though, there's shelters in different areas, they can all work together to have a bigger impact. So we do have our conference coming up in April. Over 200 people come to that one. It's a great opportunity to meet new people. We do have some turnover in the nonprofit executive director position. So it's always nice to see new faces and get our younger professionals involved with these organizations. I think that they're really going to help us bring it home, in the future.
Okay, anything else from anyone before we lose you?
Yes, Tony, I did want to just jump in. Yes, I'm supporting SHRM Lehigh Valley and Gemini today, but I think most of you know that I am a proud Workforce board member. And the one part of the mentoring that I did want to talk about, and I've been doing this for years, mentoring our emerging leaders is phenomenal for growth and development. But I also spend my own personal time mentoring people in transition, people out of the workforce over age 50. Mentoring is needed at so many different key points in our professional careers, at the beginning, the middle, and at the end. So one of the things I'm also passionate about is helping employees that are experienced over a certain age that find themselves in transition and having a hard time getting back out there and starting over again after having 20, 30, 40 years of experience. So anyone on this call, I'm going to just, put it out there. I am available to have any kind of conversations with you all. I am mentoring people at all levels. I'm very meeting people where they are. Might not always be in person, but it can be phone call, a virtual Teams message. I'm going to, and I do want to reach out to Janae. Please let me know if there's anything that I can help you with. I'm stepping outside of my HR role in Gemini, and I'm talking to you as a proud board member, very, very involved with the workforce development in this region. We are successful because we are a collaborative community. And Tony, no, the workforce board will show up, and our members of the board will show up when we are needed. So I'm letting anyone know on this call, as a workforce board representative, I am here to support you in your growth, your development, your individual, yourself, your team members. Please contact me and I will see what I can do to help you personally or get you some resources that you may need.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Portia. I will be in touch.
That's amazing. And Portia, I'm so glad you remind us that mentoring doesn't just mean young professionals coming in, but you just said it, all ages, people are are moving out of companies, are being, are losing positions, and they need the love and they need the help. So thank you for that reminder. And like Portia or any of us, I'm available anytime for anyone because I've been blessed to be here. But anyone that needs help, we want to be there for you. So thank you for that. Thank you, Workforce Board, Kathy and Sarah, for the great work that you do. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the Pennsylvania Department of Community Economic Development has been the sponsor of this, and I'm thankful for that and thankful for all of you. We have a blessed community, as Portia said, and let's keep going. It's not easy, but we keep fighting and keep getting to the goal line. So have a great rest of the week, and thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you all.